Last Friday, 25 tech companies signed a letter telling Washington to keep its hands off OpenAI. By Monday, OpenAI, Google, and SpaceX had added their names. Anthropic is the only major lab still standing outside, and the argument that everyone's talking about is about safety, but it's actually happening on top of an argument about revenue models. If you're asking yourself, what the hell does this all mean? I will try to do a quick rundown. So the argument was heating up because of Kimi K3. So the company Moonshot AI, a Chinese lab, put out a 2.8 trillion parameter open weight model that lands near US frontier performance, then published the weights on Monday so anyone could download it. Now, open weight is not the same as open source, by the way. You get a finished model file to download, you run, and you can fine tune. The training data and the code that built it stay behind the curtain. So White House advisors have accused Moonshot of building it by distilling Anthropic's technology, and Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said Washington could sanction Chinese firms for stealing American IP. Then came reports that the administration was weighing a ban on Chinese open weight models entirely. And that is what the 25 companies were initially responding to. It started with Nvidia. Jensen Huang used his first post ever on X to promote the signatures. At CES this year, he said 1 in every 4 tokens generated today comes from an open model. Nvidia does not care which model you run. It only cares that you run it on their silicon. So Nvidia's value sits in chips. Microsoft and Meta make their money on what surrounds a model, the cloud and the distribution, which is why cheap models suit them fine. Anthropic, however, sells their model. Every open weight download is a customer who stops metering with them. So it makes sense that the two labs slowest to sign were Anthropic and OpenAI. That's a perfectly rational commercial position when your revenue is counted per token. To be fair, Amodi answered on Monday. He said that Anthropic has never called for an open weight ban, that open models without dangerous capabilities are in public interest, and that what he wants is mandatory safety testing for any sufficiently capable model. But let's put that into context. Just over a month ago, the US ordered Anthropic to cut foreign access to Fable 5 and Mythos 5, enforcing a nationality rule across a shared cloud. It was totally impractical, so both models went completely dark worldwide for 19 days. This was the first known case of a government forcing a global model takedown. And in the same window, Washington asked OpenAI to hold its most capable tier to roughly 20 approved partners. So, if you're an Australian organisation running client work on a US model, global geopolitics is now baked into your governance risk. There is every chance of an outage that you did not cause, you could not appeal, and you were not told about in advance because someone in Washington woke up with their grumpy pants on. Meanwhile, the wider market is already making its call. 12 months ago, US models handled around 70% of tokens flowing through OpenRouter. By June this year, it only has about 30%. DeepSeek alone now moves more volume than any other single provider. So that America First slogan has really produced an American AI industry that developers everywhere around the world are quietly routing around. The volume has left, but the revenue has not. The closed labs still take most of the money because they hold that higher value work. So the review worth running this quarter is not, should we switch to open models? I actually think the question is narrower than that. Which of your workflows survive 19 days without your vendor being online? Some will. The ones that will not are the ones where you should own weights and use different types of models. You can't govern a system that you can be logged out of.